Oh, the humanity. It is indeed the 27th of the 8th, 2024, and it gets techier and techier in the weird and wacky world that is the Wonder Fs, because Jos Verstappen is not pulling any punches. No, not anymore. Not if he was in the first instance. You'll remember that Jos Verstappen said many moons ago, in and amongst peak Christian Horner allegation gate, that if the one they call Christian Horner as team principal didn't leave Red Bull, that one day in the not too distant future that the team that's called the Bulls that are red would indeed implode. And I feel like this is some form of self-fulfilling prophecy per se, because Jos Verstappen is putting this into action, is he not? Attacking yet again Red Bull for the ineptitudes, the various multitudinous ineptitudes of their RB20 iteration. Here's what he's had to say per Planet F1. Over 20 seconds being the gap between Lando Norris and Max Verstappen at the Dutch Grand Prix is a huge disappointment. That Max Verstappen, my son, never ever had a chance of winning that race. This is what Jos Verstappen told German publication Bild. But that's not surprising when you regress the car. What's he talking about there? Well, of course, it's the rumour that Max Verstappen was driving a regressed iteration of the RB20. No longer is he driving the most upgraded one. That was left to Checo Perez. Now, with a view to widen the sweet spot of that RB20, they are taking off upgrades which have since proven downgrades, made the car more temperamental, more knife edgy. Jos Verstappen's father of Max continues, that says it all. The team took the wrong turn several times. Now, Max Verstappen has talked on a many occasion about fundamental flaws with the design concept, curbing the fact that the RB20 can't ride them. And again, this manifested itself through the unforced errors of Max Verstappen at Monaco, turn one, lest we forget, in qualifying. Now, however, again, the ineptitudes around that RB20 iteration are now more multitudinous. The sweet spot is techie, difficult to achieve, always struggling to set it up. You can see Max Verstappen in real time struggling to turn in the car, and that smacks of asymmetric braking settings, does it not? Or does it? Again, super techie. Jos Verstappen continues, internally, we should hold up a mirror to ourselves and not always gloss over everything. It's time, if it's not already too late. And this harks back to something else that Jos Verstappen said, that Christian Horner, some of the senior brass at Red Bull, need to stop kidding themselves. They need to stop pretending, need to take their heads out of cloud cuckoo land. That Houston, aka Red Bull, we have ourselves a problem in real time, one that needs fixing for. Jos Verstappen's imploring Red Bull now, team that his son, 3 soon to be 4-time champion, drives for, that they need to solve these issues forthwith with urgency now. The good, continues Jos Verstappen, the good people are leaving the team. I'm very unhappy with what's happening. Well, of course, Jos Verstappen's talking about the dearth, the plethora of senior officials, senior personnel, intellectual property that have left Red Bull over the past 12 months. Who are we talking about? Lest we forget one Rob Marshall. He was the first aerodynamic mind that Adrian Newey hired. Lest we forget Dan Fallows. Lest we forget Jonathan Wheatley very recently. And lest we forget one Adrian Newey, the goatiest aerodynamic mind to have ever aerodynamic in F1. Those people cannot leave your team and you replace them instantly. With whom would you replace an Adrian Newey even? A Dan Fallows or a Rob Marshall? Well, both of those are no longer available. Jonathan Wheatley, the chap that combs through the regulations and advises FIA, the regulatory body, whether they can or can't issue Max Verstappen with a championship after having run a curtailed Suzuka Grand Prix. That's the level of sporting director, the level of knowledge that they have lost out of the Bulls that are red when Jonathan Wheatley walks away. How do you replace for that? How do you mitigate for that loss of intellectual property? Jos Verstappen continues that no longer can you sugarcoat it anymore. That my son, The three, apparently soon to be four-time champion, Max Verstappen, is now struggling in this championship. It gets techie. Jos continues, Max won't be happy with having a car like this. Now it's up to Christian Horner to get the team back on track. The fact that you have to go back to the car from the beginning of this year says all that needs to be said. Indeed, they are regressing, not advancing. Christian Horner said post-race that we don't understand. We need to take some time to get to grips with the ineptitudes of the car in real time. And that, for me, speaks volumes. Not that they know and they're waiting on the fixes. They don't know how to solve for the ineptitudes, the multitudinous ineptitudes of the car. That's not where they are. They need to go away and understand first how to fix it before then going away and fixing for it. And that, again, per Jos Verstappen, speaks volumes. All those sensational messages like alarm phase 1 at Red Bull, continues Jos Verstappen, because Lando Norris finishes 23. No less than 23 seconds down the road from my son, Max Verstappen. This is him on Twitter now. There was no need for Max to go all out. And again, he's responding now to the question that Martin Brundle put forth, that Max Verstappen was sandbagging, that there was no way that Lando Norris in race pace, in absolute terms, was 23 seconds down the road from one Maximilian Verstappen. Jos, Max's dad, responds, there was no need for Max to go all out. Whether you finish second and 4 seconds behind the lead or 23 seconds, you still get the same number of points, 18. So again, Max, he's alluding to, was being efficient, therefore, with his energies. Verstappen Senior's response to this succinct, then you haven't understood. If you don't understand that efficient use of energy, then you haven't understood F1. Oh, the humanity. What are we doing, Jay? This is bonkers. I just don't believe that we're talking about this. Who could have seen this coming 12 months ago? The bulls that were red were all conquering, all dominant. Nobody could defeat them. And now we are literally in DEFCON 5 settings. All of the senior personnel that matter have left or are leaving soon. Christian Horner is trying to cover over the paper over the cracks even. However, he's responded, right? Lest we forget, this is in the context that conversations are going on in real time between Max Verstappen and other teams. When I say other teams, of course, I'm talking about Mercedes. To which Christian Horner responds, now all of a sudden it feels like 2021 and there is rancor between team principals of Red Bull and Christian Horner and Mercedes, bud. Toto, the boy who cried wolf. Here's what Christian Horner's had to say. The situation was always clear on, of course, the negotiations between himself and Max. The situation was always clear between ourselves and Max. And I think that others can talk, but we're comfortable with where we're at. It's down to us as a team to deliver a car capable of winning races. We have an agreement with Max until 2028, so it's down to us to deliver. 2028 is a long way away, continues Christian. It's down to us to provide a race-winning car. Every contract, of course, has a performance clause element in it. However, we're not going to talk about what those elements are in the public forum, but as long as we provide a competitive car, we know what the situation is. However, as far as Mercedes, here's where the jibes come in. Here's where it gets techie. Oh, the humanity. Christian Horner concludes on this note, bookends his statement thus. I didn't see Toto's car performing that well at the Dutch Grand Prix. 2021 settings again, right? This is rancor. They are back and forth now, Mercedes team principal and Christian Horner. Why would Christian say that? Well, of course, Maximilian Verstappen will be having conversations with Mercedes in real time, and how far that those go will be a function of how good that Mercedes, the W15, is performing on a consistent basis. Here's why Christian Horner said that. Because Eddie Jordan on the Formula for Success podcast has said that Mercedes are pulling together a fund using which they are trying to bait Maximilian Verstappen into driving for the boys and girls at Brackley and Brixworth as soon as 2026. Oh, the humanity. They aren't pulling any punches here. You've heard that Toto Wolff is desperately trying to circle the wagons, get enough people, senior Mercedes officials on board to throw as much money as necessary at Max Verstappen. He doesn't want to repeat the mistakes of Christmas past in that he failed to sign Max, the next generational driver in 2015. Oh, the humanity. And to that, Toto Wolff has said this. And again, this is why I say it feels like 2021 all over again. Silverstone settings. Toto Wolff has come out and said that he regrets mismanaging the relationship between him and Jos, father of Max, in 2021 at Silverstone. Lest we forget the incident between Max and Lewis, the 21 Gs at Cops. Toto said that he was caught up in the melee, in the celebration, in the rancor more broadly that was the 2021 championships. He said he dropped his relationship ball. What he should have done, what he failed to do, was pick up the phone to Jos Verstappen and check on Max, having realised that Max was in the hospital in real time, getting checked out. Toto's saying that he absolutely dropped the ball, and what he's trying to do in real time, as at August 2024, is mend for that relationship now. And again, whether he can get over that hump, F1 fans wait and watch. Toto Wolff says, to reiterate, that he was told by Red Bull mechanic Paul Monahan that Max was okay, ergo there was no need to pick up the phone and check. But Toto admits that he made a mistake as far as managing that relationship between himself and his team and the Verstappens, now in real time, putting together that Max Verstappen fund with Mercedes senior officials, the board, etc. having signed it off. He realises that he needs to make amends, correct for that ill, if indeed he harbours aspiration of signing himself the generational driver of his era. That chap has a name, and his name is Maximilian Verstappen. But I digress.